What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. And today I just wanted to kind of sit down and talk to you guys about something and, hear back your guys' thoughts and talk to you in the comments. So that's pretty much what we're going to do today. As you can tell, we're going to be talking about UFC 5. Now, the other day I was watching a Martial Mind video. I'm not sure if you guys will know Martial Mind. He's quite a small YouTuber. I'm kidding. Please. People make that jokes and people go crazy. Obviously, we all love Martial. And he was mentioning that we haven't seen or heard anything about UFC 5. Now, UFC 4 was released August 2020, so logic dictates that every 2 years and 4 or 5 months the next UFC releases. That's been the pattern they've done. They've done 2 years and about 3 or 4 months the next one comes out. So logic would dictate we would get UFC 5 either August, just 2 years directly, or December, January, late this year, early next year. But in his video, he had a good point. We haven't seen or heard anything. Usually there is something where maybe the game changers have heard something, or maybe there's a leak, or maybe there's a screenshot or something, but we really haven't seen anything. Now, as much as I cover a lot of boxing and ESBC and we bag on UFC 4, UFC 5 is a game that I definitely want to see, I definitely want to play, and I definitely want to buy and own. I will get it, I will play it, and I will buy it, of course. But my question is, what are you guys expecting from it? Are you expecting maybe them to follow the UFC 1 or 2 kind of striking, where it's a bit more arcadey, crazy ragdoll KOs, not as much realism or simulation in a certain sense? Or are you hoping they follow the path of UFC 3, which is in essence a much stricter striking? In most people's eyes, UFC 3 is the best striking UFC. Some people disagree and agree, but that's just my opinion. Now, for me, the ideal one would be UFC 3's striking, UFC Undisputed 3's ground game, where it's too spoon-fed in my opinion. The thing that comes up that says half guard, sprawl, full guard, whatever, that's too spoon-fed. I like having to know and learn what the transitions are, like where I can go from a postured up full guard. I like knowing where I can go mentally, not just like, okay, the game is telling me I can go A, B, and C. I like actually having to learn it. In real life, if someone takes, say if me and Martial Mind were to get in a full MMA sparring, if he takes me down, that's it. I'm locking into the fetal position and I'm begging for my life, because he's going to take my neck, take a limb, take an arm, whatever. I know nothing about it, but I love learning it, and I love going into the game and learning about the ground. Whereas UFC 4 and to be honest, UFC 3 as well was too spoon-fed for me. But like I said, what are you guys expecting? Are you at the point now where you're like, you know what, UFC 1 was okay, it was fun, UFC 2 was fun, UFC 3 was good, UFC 4 was such a disappointment, I'm not going to get UFC 5, I'm going to wait for the reviews to come out, and I'm going to see what these big YouTubers have to say, the unbiased ones? Or are you going to just be one of the guys like me that's going to say, you know what, fuck it, I'll buy it anyways, I'll pre-order it, I'll get it on the day, like it is what it is, let's suck it up and see what happens? Martial Mind seems to think they might simplify it more. I really hope that doesn't happen. I'd be really disappointed if they simplified it more. And I know people are like, the ground game's difficult. That's the part of it. That's part of MMA. If you don't want it, then go and play a different game. That's my thing. Like, I love boxing, but when I play a UFC game, I want to know that, okay, my kickboxing is pretty decent, my ground game's okay, but my takedown defense is weak. If someone makes the most of that, they can keep taking me down over and over again. They can bully me on the ground if they want, and I have to learn to adapt. I can't just go it's crazy that the ground game in real life is so complex, and in a video game you can just do this and deny. Like, there's nothing to, I don't think there's anything to it, in my opinion. It's unfun on top and on bottom. It's so boring. I'm not a fan of the ground game at all. I much prefer, not to mention, sorry to interrupt myself, but not to mention the ground and pound. Like, you need ground and pound where you posture up, bang, you ran, not just I want to be able to posture up and maybe, shot, body shot, elbow down, and actually feel that impact where your fighter's on their back and they get hit with that, where they're like, fuck, they cover up and whatever. And it feels empty, So UFC 5 is a game that I definitely want, and I want to hear something about it. I don't know if anyone has heard anything about it, but I want to hear things about it. There's a few things like the archetypes. Get rid of them. They are the shittest things ever created. Archetypes work well in literally every sports game except for an MMA game. An MMA game are people that are skilled in many trades. You could force archetypes in NBA, makes sense. Madden makes sense. NHL, yeah, makes sense. FIFA, you could even do that in FIFA. Even boxing, you could even do an archetype base in boxing and it be okay. You could have, range fighter, and they utilize the range strike. So maybe when they throw that lead hook, it's a bit more extended. MMA is the one game where archetypes do not make sense, because you have like wrestler, Kamaru Usman, wrestler, but his striking is leveled up in real. It's the one game that doesn't make sense for archetypes. That they need to just get rid of that and allow us to create fighters the way we want, add moves the way we want, upgrade moves, upgrade. So yes, people do make 99 overalls, but that's the way it be. But then you get people like Marshall that done a Bilal Muhammad video recently, and that's what he was talking about. He was saying that the archetypes just don't make sense, because like you have a pure wrestler, but then they don't have any. They have really terrible body kicks, where some wrestlers have good kicks. Some boxers have good submissions. They have that tight grip to lock that submission in. It just doesn't make sense for an MMA game. But I'll be curious, honestly, to hear you guys' thoughts. I don't speak for the UFC community, of course, but it's something I definitely want to hear you guys' thoughts on. Are you at the point now where you're like, you know what, honestly, UFC 4 has pissed me off that much that I don't even give a shit? Like, I'll watch YouTubers play it, but that's about it. Or are you like, you know what, new roster, that's the only thing that gets me to buy the game? Because for me, when I buy these new UFC games, it is curiosity about the mechanics, curiosity about how it feels, major curiosity about the career, the most top level curiosity of how can I break this game like I did with UFC 4, losing all the fights, slam TKO, seeing if it worked, up kick KOs, does it work, all that stuff. These were the things that I was curious of, and I figured them out. It was so much fun to make them. And, you know, getting a draw and all stuff like that. But also the main thing is the updated roster. That's what I want in UFC 5. I love playing as the new roster. But you guys want to know your thoughts on it. You know, is it a game worth talking about? Is it a game worth, you know, having the hype for, like we did with UFC 4? There was a lot of hype around UFC 4. A lot of my channel grew initially from UFC 4 and the hype, and the archetype thing at first was like, okay, this is decent. You have a base. That's what it was all about. Archetypes are all about having a base of a boxer, a base of a kickboxer. Little did we know it was the no, you're stuck. If you create a kickboxer, he is a kickboxer. He is going to be bare minimal on the ground. He is going to be bare minimal in the submissions. And it doesn't make sense for an MMA game. So I hope they abandon that. I hope they try and abandon this story-based Coach Davis career shit. If they have to, just go back to old school career where it's just simulation training, because then it's more fun. Maybe just make it so the injury thing is still there, because that was a decent touch. In all honesty, the injury thing made sense. I don't mind the moves. Obviously, you know, constantly leveling up, I liked all that. But just, you know, let us create the martial arts we want. And, you know, you guys let me know what you think. Because it's just kind of depressing to think, like, if they do simplify things, what's that going to turn it into? UFC is going to be such a joke in terms of a game. People are going to go into the sport and see, like, a great ground game display and be like, oh, this is so boring, wish they'd just stand up, stop hugging each other. Like, I thought we were past that. Whereas I feel like if the game keeps simplifying the ground game, if people learn jiu-jitsu from the game, I'm not saying they're going to go in and be able to do it in real life, but it's just, it's that intrigue where people actually, if you see someone good on the ground in Undisputed 3, you're like, he has learnt this. He knows what he's doing. He knows what every little twitch looks like. If I push it down here, he knows to deny that way. And as he denies, he pushes my hand down and he can cut into that side control position and then use that momentum to grab that crucifix position and start landing those elbows down from my uncomfortable situation when I'm on my back. But yeah, so ideally, Undisputed 3 is the right ground game to go in terms of the momentum of it. I think we need more positions on the ground. Even though I don't do jiu-jitsu, I don't know anything about it. I feel like full guard, half guard, side control, sprawl, some kind of north-south, back mount, top mount. I think there is a rubber guard in there. I feel like that's not all jiu-jitsu is. I feel like that's super restrictive for the things I see, even in Undisputed 3 and in Martial Mind's videos. Like, it seems pretty restricted, so I'm not a fan. The UFC 4 boxing isn't terrible, so I could get behind that, but I much preferred UFC 3. But let me know your thoughts. I kind of just wanted to sit down and talk about it, to be honest. Like, you know, let me know your thoughts. Are you fed up with the Esports UFC series? Are you never going to buy it? Are you going to buy it after reviews, or are you going to buy it on release day? I'll pre-order it. I'll get it on release day, because that's just what I do. But yeah, man, we'll have to wait and see, I suppose. But, you know, if anything drops, I'll cover it on the channel, because it's a new fighting game. UFC's major. It's exciting when these new games come out. And yeah, I'll of course cover it, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to the realization that they've gone simpler than UFC 4. That would be quite depressing, to be honest. But For me, it's like career and stuff, and obviously gameplay mechanics, but we'll have to see. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.